So Scott, I think you said something, you said a bunch of things that were really interesting. One of the ones I maybe want to double click on is you said potentially this could be one of the biggest exit events, right, for retail, potentially ever, based on the number of people who invest into these SPVs.
We'll see what happens with Anthropic and OpenAI, right? Like that's the other one where people are a little less jammed in. I don't, maybe you guys know the answer to this. I don't know where the XAI secondary stuff, where that is, it in this too. I know they've combined the companies. I don't know how that all works, but if you're including that, which was like all the rage like about a year ago, then this then you're combining SpaceX and XAI, which at this point is quite literally is a data center rental company. Like they've all been they did the contract with Cursor, but
I could definitely see that as well from the numbers from a retail side. Now, when we say retail, non-professional, right? Not VC, not private capital, that sort of thing.
But accredited.
But you still had to be accredited for all of these deals. This
unless
wasn't
you
something
bought the mirrors from Republic. This is a great opportunity. I mean, I'm joking, but this is a great opportunity to find out what that is. We've talked about.
We're going to see what that looks like.
Correct.
100%.
Right.
So we're going to learn a lot. My question is, what do you think this means for unaccredited retail who was not able to get access, but might be clamoring to get access to? Are they going to be the exit liquidity for a lot of these VCs and others who invested earlier? Or do you see this as still, I guess that's more of maybe a supply and demand question of it really depends. Where do you think SpaceX is going to go post IPO? Do you think this tells us anything about the private markets? Just that, SpaceX stayed private for 20 years. Yes, there was a lot of accredited investors who were able to invest. Does this change anything in terms of how companies in the future might operate if they see how SpaceX does after doing this? We've already seen companies with a trend staying private longer. Does this even reinforce that more?
I think it does a couple things. You're going to have to tackle me digitally to get me to stop talking when you're ready to move into another segment. It's such a great loaded question because it really is like maybe one of the defining things of investment moments of our lifetime. We've talked about the big seven or so and the markets taking up so much of the trading volume and the consolidation. A few weeks ago, we talked about the consolidation of funds. The consolidation of data and access, that's what this is. And so if you think about it, like we being you and I, but also people keep saying, when are we going to open the floodgates for IPOs? And I'm sitting there going, fuck you talking about? Because there's like 6 or 7 companies that are lined up, and they're the big ones that we've been talking about constantly. Stripe is the only one that's not really an AI business. The rest are. And they have raised in the hundreds of billions of dollars. And you look at this company, 1.25 trillion valuation, maybe 2 trillion, 1.8, whatever. The advantage they have by going public is that the public is massive and there's a lot of money. But like not everyone in that public is, Antonio Gracias level wealth. So somebody's going to have to fork over that 2 trillion to make it real and to give Antonio Gracias 140 billion. It's nice to have the valuation, but that doesn't mean anything. I say that because if Anthropic comes next, and by the way, from an enterprise value standpoint, they're kicking the shit out of OpenAI. So I can't wait for that S1 when they show that their enterprise business is insane. It's like $45 billion or whatever it is. The $20 billion in revenue SpaceX did is at a losing nature. That's not the case for the enterprise side of Anthropic. So when that goes live, that should theoretically be more at the price point they're going to come out. It should actually be a better value. Again, assuming you don't believe the big data centers in the space thing. So now you need another trillion of public capital. And normally these are index funds and retail investors that make up the majority of these purchases. So, let's do, napkin math. Look at the general volume, trading volume on Robinhood alone. Obviously that's not the only place, there's many, but like look at the trading volume daily and do the math. I need $1 trillion over the next whenever they go live, over the next few weeks of that. I need another $1 trillion invested when Anthropic does. I need another $500 billion to $1 trillion in space, or when OpenAI does. Stripe is now there. There's only 5 or 6 companies that are going to really come through here. And what we're going to start to see is just, again, further consolidation. There's only one space and data center company. There's only one consumer AI company. There's only one enterprise business AI company. And they all eat data and compute from the same freaking company that's about to go public, which is SpaceX XAI. And who do they feed? They have a deal with Cursor. What does Cursor do? It's a circle. And who's buying it? From NVIDIA. And where does NVIDIA get their chips? TMC. It's a fucking circle. And there's only 7 or 8 companies that make this up. And there's multiple trillions of dollars that need to go inflow from retail to do that. At a certain point, there's just not enough money. And unless those firms continue to grow in their size and their capital is replaced by institutional hedge funds and so on and so forth, which will happen. But until that does, we're like, what happens next? Like, you know, do you know what I'm saying? Like there's just not there. We're used to having a flow of a dozen or so companies go public, and you can pick and choose where you want to put money in. And that's still going to happen, right? Like small companies will still go public. But these companies that are going live are hogs. They're not taking in $1 billion. They're taking in $1 trillion, and they need to be $1 trillion. Otherwise they're like insolvent, right? So like,
well, but like something you said, so index funds, there's been a lot of news around index funds like the Russell and others actually changing their process to fast track it to normally it might take a few months or something else to get it. They want SpaceX to be a part of their index as soon as possible. So if you're an index fund investor, even your 401k, whether or not you like it, if they go public at a $2 trillion valuation, that makes SpaceX probably the 6th or 7th largest company, like in the S&P. You're going to have 3% exposure if you just hold the S&P to SpaceX through your index fund holdings, whether you like it or not.